Hello, and welcome to this new map with me, Mr. Dex. This is Moss Valley, and I have been really excited to try this map out once I saw a few other YouTubers' previews of it. It is, as always, a British map, which for me, being British, is a favourite. So we are starting over here. Now this is not the default starting location, and we are not starting on the main farm. I have elected to start somewhere separately because, one, it'd be a bit different, and two, it just might fit a bit better for my playstyle. I have elected to start from scratch. That is not something I normally do. The caveat to that though, when you start from scratch, you get all the vehicles still. So I deleted the vehicles. I selected a small selection of my own and a small selection of land. So have I really started from scratch? I don't know. But I thought that was fair since I put the money that I got from the start from scratch mode towards what I've got currently. So that was my way of justifying it. I think the opening episode we are going to have a quick tour of the farm itself, the land we own, the equipment we have, a brief tour of the map for those who aren't familiar with it, and then from there we will possibly get a bit of work done. We will see. As always with my videos, I aim for the 20 to 30 minute mark. It is predominantly just because it makes it a lot easier to do the editing and the uploading with my PC, so that's the main reason behind it. I know a lot of other YouTubers do between 30 an hour, 2-hour episodes. That isn't really feasible in one stint for me. It makes it a nightmare for editing, but bar that, it's good. So here we are. Like I said, this farm is a lot of storage space. We've got a little bit towards the rear here. We'll have to get some small equipment to go into there and small vehicles to move the equipment in there. We have a fertilizer stroke lime spreader there from the Kubota pack, one of my favourites. In here we have a set of mowers because, again, it's British, it's a lot of grass, and we're going to start off with grass work and potentially silage work. We've got a forage pickup and a tedder. That will be coming very handy for the grass and for straw, possibly here as well. We don't have a bunker, so as far as I can tell, so we won't be picking grass up to do silage that way. We've got a bale trailer. In there we've got a plough, naturally a baler, a tractor. It's Fendt, but because it's a mod I can customise the colour to yellow, so again I've colour themed this map, and bale storage here. That's what we're starting out with. We have 500,000 in the bank because that's the start from scratch money. Like I said, I got about 800,000 from the equipment I sold off. I spent a bit of money and then I just reset it back to 500,000. Just to bring it back down to 500,000 rather than having it a bit more than that, because we had about 1.8 once I'd sold everything. But yeah, so that's what we're starting with there. I'm going to just briefly put this into flight mode. So land wise, we start with this grass field directly in front of us. This, I believe, is a pasture. I have a suspicion it will be for sheep. I haven't checked that yet. And we also have this grass field. And finally, we also have these buildings here in this area of the map. And it looks like we've got a few beehives, which again I hadn't realised. So I don't know whether we're going to have a spawn point for bees to get them to function. But yeah, so we start down here. I'm not quite sure what that is, we'll have to check that out shortly. Potentially, by the looks of it, it could be either bale storage or a sell point. I don't think it's a sell point though. So yeah, so that's the small plot of land that we own here. This grass field's ready to do, so we may end up getting that done today, but the rest of the work isn't. Now the map itself, I haven't done a great deal of exploring. It's well made, it's well done, it is very, very British, it's based on a real location, and if you were to look at the satellite imagery of the real location, it is pretty spot on. There are a few building texture colours that are slightly off at the main farm, but again, if that's the only critique I've got, it's the only critique. But yeah, as we progress, we will go around and we will see much more of the map. For those who aren't familiar though, let's go up to the main farm and see where you would start if you were to download this map and play it yourself. So it's quite a long, windy road, which is nice. He says not entirely sure where he's going, because this doesn't look like we're going back to the way we should be. It's not. So what have I missed? I know what I've missed. We should have gone down this road here. So again, still a long, windy road. And you can see just in the distance, this is where the main farm is. So again, it's quite a large starter farm. You get a couple of animal pens on here as well. Lots of shed storage. You've got silo storage, which I don't think my farm that I'm starting with has. We're going to have to put something like that down. But yeah, like I said, the critique I've got is these building texture colours are just slightly off from the actual real world buildings. Bar that. Like I said, you go on to Google Street View of the area and you will pretty much find that this is spot on. Now the starting farm, I believe you definitely get the field in front of us there, and I think you also get that field here, plus two little grass fields way over in the distance. Quite far off the beaten track really. Now just down from here is another small little farmyard, and I was contemplating this being my starter farm. I've seen new player, new map, new equipment, but for me the yard was just a little bit too tight to be comfortable. You start with cows, you get a silo, a bunker silo there, you get a free caravan, like you do on most farms these days in England. But yeah, there are certainly options here if you wanted to have a multiplayer with multiple farms running. I think there are a few more farms around the map. We're not going to spot them all now, we're just going to have a quick tour. I will obviously be frequenting this location shortly because this is the BGA. I think there are other sell points here as well. And the other good thing with this map, there are periodically little places like this where you could build your own farm. Now my only caveat, because I did initially try this, and because the land's not completely flat, it will mean you're going to have to level it slightly and do a bit of landscaping. And if you're good at that, that will be perfectly fine. If you're not so good at it, it could muck up the landscaping and you might regret it afterwards. This one I don't think looks too bad, and there are places where you can make leveled areas and then lower and smooth across. But there's another place at the top of the map, which we're not going to do today but we'll get to, where it's a bit of a smaller area and the inclines are a little bit, whilst it doesn't look steep, once you start placing buildings it does make quite a significant dent into the landscape. I believe this is the store. And the other good thing with this map, if I was to place my own tractor right here now and then go to the store page to buy something, we would see the tractor in the store image. It's a live snapshot of the actual store, and I don't think I've ever seen that on any other map. It's not to say it isn't on another map, I just haven't seen it on another map. So again, another nice feature. But yeah, I'm really happy to be doing a series on this. I am planning, for those of you who've maybe been familiar with videos I've been putting out there, I've been putting out Castleknoll, the multiplayer with Robert Scythe, the competitive one. I am planning to knock that down to 1 episode a week rather than 2. One, I'm not getting as many views on it anyway, but 2, it's very time consuming in terms of editing because we have to do about a 2-hour stint per episode of recording, and then it has to be cropped down, and because I'm not entirely certain what bits to keep in, I record the full 2 hours. This kind of playthrough, I could spend the entire day on the map and only record the segments I know I want to include in the video, so it makes things a lot easier. But with the competitive, because we're playing together, we have a 2-hour limited window, and that just means that the full 2 hours gets recorded. So it does make my life a little bit harder. Robert is perfect at the editing. He's been well versed and experienced on this now, so for him it's a piece of cake. For me, not quite so much just yet, so I'm dropping that to 1 episode. Attingham Park is the other Let's Play on another favourite map of mine, and that is also on a cross-play multiplayer map, and that is part of the Robert Scythe server. So again, his details will be in those videos. You can join the server, join the multiplayer, and the aim behind that one is I will just do little bits and pieces, and if other people on the map, they will hopefully help me or I will help them, and that's the way that one's going. This one is fully PC. It has any mods that I will want on it. It will allow me to do a lot more with it, and I hope it gives me a greater level of flexibility. So yeah, it's just, for me, typically British, but very, very immersive and picture perfect. So I'm happy. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Attingham, again, it's another real location in England. So these maps that are based on real locations, it does make a difference in my view. And for all it is British, these are not small fields. These will still take a lot of time to do. So we're not talking small fiddly fields, we are talking small fiddly roads to get the large equipment in, but the fields themselves are substantial. So yeah. Okay, I think I have waffled long enough because this is not going to be time lapsed, it's all waffle. So I think we now start on a bit of actual work. Okay, here we are back at the farm. Obviously the hood's back on now. Timescale's onto 1, so we're starting our year, our day. I'm planning to play this on 2-day months. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad yet, but that is the plan. I think early on we're going to have limited stuff to do, but as we progress, those 2 days may even be too little. Drove in straight, can't get out straight. Whilst I took the liberty of getting this tractor, and it's not my usual Case Magnum with all the flashy lights, I think this is equally as big as the Case Magnum. It's a medium tractor, but It just feels big. I think it's just this map. Right. Now, I don't actually know how you get into the field, so we will navigate carefully. Okay, he says carefully, not very carefully. I'm stuck already. Now, I did a very quick preview on stuff on New Farmer, and I'm sure this had no hedge collisions. Oh, I've just noticed there's a fence between that hedge. That's why. Okay. I shall retain that knowledge for 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to assume it's these two gates. I suspect I have literally bought too big of a vehicle with too big equipment for this map already. Okay, well, I think for the first episode we will leave things there. I will go and collect the bales at some point. I will see what else there is to do for a future episode. I think starting off we're going to be doing a lot of contract work, which will be nice. It'll be change, it'll be using equipment that is provided to us, hopefully, and we will navigate the very tight, windy roads and entrances to the fields. But yeah, I think Moss Valley is a really lovely map, and I am looking forward to doing a lot more on this farm going forward. So, for those who have been watching, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye for now.